Sirach 18 verse 12. He saw and perceived their end to be evil. Therefore, he multiplied his compassion. The mercies of man is toward his neighbor, but the mercies of Yahweh is upon all flesh. He reproveth and nourisheth and teacheth and bringeth again, as a shepherd his flock. He hath mercy on them that receiveth discipline, and that diligently seek after his judgments, giving all the praise and honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Dash. Double honor to the elders of Great Millstone who told me this truth. A sincere Shalom Labakarium Shah Yasharallah. That's peace to the hopeful elect, the elect of the nation of Israel, ordained to be saved, predestined from the foundation of the world. That small remnant plucked from amongst the clusters. What I said in the beginning is the Heavenly Father's true name. When you see Lord in the scriptures in all caps, that's Yahweh. Yahweh is to be or in existence. Bahashem, in the name. Yahweh Shai, which is his son's name, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Shai, deliver, savior. And that's what he about to do. Two things that these chariots are going to do. Two things. They're going to save the elect, the electos, the lapacarium, and they're going to destroy Abba, great Babylon, and the wickedness of this world, and cleanse, man. That's what we need, a cleansing. And it's happening, Akim, you know, and with that, the world think they getting over. They think they're getting over. I'm going to read this again. This is Sirach 18 verse 12. He saw and perceived their end to be evil. Therefore, he multiplied his compassion. And he's done that for who? His elect. The Lord knew that it was going to end this way. At the end of the world, that people was going to be bugged out because judgment is coming on them. And the Lord knows his elect is amongst these fools. And Yahweh Ratazah, part of that number. And you are too. So the Lord multiplied his mercies and compassion because the corruptible infects. What I mean by that is that, you know, the ways of the world weighed on our flesh when we was in this world. So as the Lord woke us up and we were reborn again through the spirit, through the inward man, and our outward man died daily. So, but we still have these habits, you know, these conditions, these fears, these thoughts, these strange feelings that's still in our flesh of the world. In the spiritual realm, these demons out here, they know it. So they working on us as we coming closer to the end. They working on those old hang-ups from the world that we have in us. So that's why we got to stay in that gospel, that good news. This what we have that they don't have. The world don't know what's going on. They just walking. They just walking and eating and reacting off their senses like animals. But the elect was plucked out, and the Lord knew that there will be a decent amount of the elect on the earth in the time. So he multiplied his compassion towards you. So as we fight the flesh, like Paul saying in Romans 7, we fight the flesh because the spirit warreth against the flesh. So it's a constant battle. We got to remember the Lord's mercy sits on top of all that. So a righteous man falls 7 times and rises back up again. So we got to keep getting up and moving on, knowing that it was going to be this hard. Humanity is at its weakest point since the world has been created right now. And that's the flesh. The flesh is at its weakest it's ever been. So I'm going to read this here. This is Wisdom of Solomon 3 verse 9. They that put their trust in him shall understand the truth, and such as be faithful in love shall abide with him. For grace and mercy is to his saints, and he have care for his elect. So those mercies is multiplied in the end of the world for his elect that's going to be here in the midst of this confusion, in the midst of Jacob's trouble, in the midst of what's coming, what's going on. So the Lord has multiplied his mercies for you, Akim, Akwaf. Take hold of it, because the world is receiving mercy in a certain way of being reserved for the day of burning. So they're abusing the mercies of our Lord, man. Our Lord is like a good father, man. And the wicked children, our wicked brothers and cousins and friends, are constantly abusing our Father's kindness, but not the hopeful elect. We run up in his mercies for salvation. That's why we run up in his mercies. But the world, they don't look at it like that. They think they're getting away with what they're doing. So I'm going to play this video here. This is the Prepared Homestead. Subscribe. Akim that's not subscribed. This guy goes in. He has some intel. This guy could be, an insider, whatever. He lives out here. He's a prepper as well. They've been doing this for years. So we don't know what's going on with him, but he delivers the news. But I do know he has some connections, according to him, allegedly, in the FBI as well as the military. A lot of these preppers started prepping from the intel that they were getting from the inside, and that made them get the jump on it. But this guy been going for about 25 years prepping. So, he's knee deep, and he can't believe that he's at the end to where he will have to use those things he prepped for. So what we're going to get into is Article 42. Now, Article 42 is the big topic of discussion. It's hot on the table. It's hot on the press, and it expires tomorrow. So now as this thing expires, what it does, it allow what they will call illegal immigrants, because it is illegal according to American standards to cross the border without permission or without your car. So they're going to actually not just allow them to cross, they're going to bring them in over the border into Texas, into New Mexico, house them in tents, and also ship them all around the 50 states, whatever, they can house here and there. Now, this guy's going to go into the numbers. He's going to go into some of the communicable, diseases that they're coming with. Because this Article 42, what it did, it was launched in 2020. It was to keep the immigrants out that was coming from these countries that was infected with this C19, man. So now this thing is expiring. We 3 years in, going on the 4th year. Now this thing is expiring. They're going to let it expire. Not that they're just going to let it expire. They're actually going to take the same people that they said couldn't come in and bring them in. So what are they up to? Yes, they're going to start a new spread. Now that Mogsburg, that new maybe I shouldn't say it, but it's not a popular name at this point. But that new virus that's going around, they saying it could be within that pack. Now they estimating some serious numbers coming in, man, by the month, 250,000 by the month. And it ain't just from South America. It's coming from all over the world. So this thing is about to heat up. And we see, let me get this here. Because we see the Lord's mercy. The Lord is about to draw back those mercies. He only extended mercy in this day for his hopeful elect. That's it. Because the hopeful elect got to make it out of here. But the rest of the people, because you got people benefiting off the mercies of the hopeful elect. Wherever you live at, the Lord protecting your whole building because of you. Whatever house you in, that whole block is receiving, covering because you're there. Whatever job you at, that whole job is receiving covering because you are there. And the Lord is about to pull that back, scoop the hopeful elect out of that. And then these people are going to be on their own. Jeremiah 30 verse 6. Ask ye now and see whether a man doeth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail. So a woman in travail, her hands on her loins, is like she's going into delivery. Those them labor pains. But he didn't see women. He saw men with these type of pains, meaning it was getting to your guts. Whatever they were seeing at this time, and Jeremiah saw in the future, whatever was going on was so painful that men was in a humbling. Because those contractions, they humble that woman, man. So these men was in a humbling position. It says, and all faces are turned into paleness from fear. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. So there's a lot of trouble that's about to hit, and it's going to hit as a thief in the night, because Jake is out here asleep the way the Lord want him. Let's check a little bit of this out.
Folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, of course, as you all know, that there's a lot of stuff going on right now in the world. A lot of stuff here in the United States that's catching a lot of people's attention. And rightfully so. You know, we've got a debt ceiling that seems to be looming that we're going to hit and not break through.
And that's another thing, the debt ceiling, you know, they had on the books 32 trillion, but on their records, they're over 200 trillion in debt to the central bank. This is going to break the dollar. And if they don't do something by June 1st, which is around the corner, we got what, 3 weeks before June 1st, which they don't have anything on the table. Now the federal government have issues because of this debt ceiling.
Obviously so important that we just increase the amount of debt that we have. I mean, it's completely illogical to just say, you know what, maybe we should spend less. There's all kinds of warning signs, and Janet Yellen is out there saying it's going to be absolutely disastrous. And as of right now, it doesn't seem that the Biden White House and the House Republicans are going to be able to come to any type of, you know, agreement on what to do. And so that's in the news a lot. And then, of course, you know, yesterday Tucker Carlson announced that he's going to start his show up on Twitter. And so, of course, that's got everyone all excited and wondering what's going on and how it's going to work out. Israel looks to be involved in another war potentially against Hamas and other factions in the Palestinian movements there. Iran has basically given its approval to what they are doing, and there's a lot of rocket fire. There's been tanks moved into positions, and just seems like a lot's going on. And then, of course, in Pakistan, it looks like it's just seemingly overnight starting to fall apart there with a potential coup attempt and arrests of certain officials and just attacks and stuff. But I'm here to talk to you today about something that I have been talking about almost every day for the last few days, and you may be getting tired of that, but I think it is very, very important, and that is about the hundreds of thousands of illegals that are currently, as I'm speaking, headed to the U.S. border to cross into this country. This is something it's not going to happen starting tomorrow. Tomorrow is when Title 42 ends. It's actually been happening for the last several days. Like the rush, the invasion started days ago. In fact, Border Patrol has been reporting that the number of migrants crossing, and I use that term loosely, migrants, you know what I'm saying, illegals, that's crossing the border is somewhere around 11,000 a day right now, which is a substantial increase in what there has been. And like I said, that and others are reporting that there's reports of anywhere between 700,000 and up to 1 million that are currently at this moment making their way towards the border. And I don't know that quite everyone fully understands how serious this is. The amount of people, just people, even if there weren't any criminals involved, even if everyone was good, wholesome, hardworking, genuinely good people, if that's all we were dealing with, it's still hundreds and hundreds of thousands, millions that will be coming into the United States starting now. I mean, it's already happening, and a substantial increase to what's been happening. And this just alone, them being good people, it's going to really mess up how things are going here in the United States. And we know that there's definitely a violent criminal element to many of them, not all, but many. And so we're adding that into the mix. Cities all across the border are gearing up and preparing for that. I've spoken to several people over the last few days that live anywhere from pretty much right on the border to within a couple of hours of the border. And they're telling me that that whole groups of communities, farmers, ranchers, homesteaders, are buying up guns and weapons, and they're working on little plans, almost to the point of creating little community-like militias
Yeah,
to
you hear
defend them.
that? Them Edomites getting ready, man, because they know what's about to happen. This thing about to go down. They setting up for the race wars, and a lot of things gonna come out of this. You best believe that. This is just more vegetables for the stew, man. A lot of things is about to take place in this country, man, in Great Babylon, the whore. And this is just one. This is one. And for them to pull a card like this, that means that Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is pushing this faster and faster. Because you got the debt ceiling they need to deal with within 2 to 3 weeks. But you also got the CBDC that they got to deal with before July 1st. Everything going digital. So you got a lot of these immigrants coming over here, no cards, no paperwork on them. The only way to make money is under the table. Meaning monitor-free dollars that they about to wipe off the street. So you mean to tell me you about to bust 250,000 people a month up here in the country that's going to have no way to hustle? No way to get the money off the market? What is that going to lead to? A lot of crime, a lot of stealing, a lot of killing. And there's gangsters, man. That I forget the name of that group. I would say that the MS-13, which I consider a small militia. They brutal, man. We talking about guerrilla warfare. That's what these people know coming up from these countries. And they bringing them in. That was a call from the top, man. This is Isaiah 19, verse 2, NLT. I will make Egyptian fight against Egyptian, and that's going to happen. Today, America is modern Egypt as well as Babylon. These are names for this country you live in. This country has been coded in the scriptures. Okay? So when we speak about Egypt, we speaking about this place spiritually. Revelations 11 and 8. This is spiritually Egypt, spiritually Sodom, spiritually Nineveh, spiritually Assyria. Okay? The mystery daughter of Babylon. That's this place, America here. And the Lord said, I'm going to make Egyptian fight against Egyptian, brother against brother, neighbor against neighbor, city against city, province against province. The Egyptians will lose heart, and I will confuse their plains. They will plead with their idols for wisdom and call upon spirits, mediums, and those who consult with spirits of the dead, because this place is ran by witchcraft. That's how they run this place. That's where they get their power from. And the left hand demons that you've been dealing with about to flee is already fleeing from them. They got a few left just to complete the ending of the story, man. But as you can see, this is not going to go well. It's not going to go well at all. And what people should be asking themselves, why right now? With all of the hyperinflation, right? The shelves are empty at the store. They closing down Walmarts. They closing down fast food restaurants. Jobs, layoffs, unemployment as highest. They unsnipped the little pandemic snippet they was given for unemployment for the SNAP program. Things are happening. And then at the same time, you want to bring over 6 million immigrants here to the shores of America that's diseased up. These are not regular people that's been approved they're diseased and dump them in the midst of this. Yeah, Jacob's trouble, man. Trouble is here at the doorsteps of America. America is about to be judged.
Themselves against this influx, vast, rapid influx of migrants coming across the border. And of course, the Biden administration doesn't care. To put this into a little bit of perspective and numbers, during the Trump administration, the average number of illegals crossing the border on any given month was around 25,000. There were a couple of months that it unusually peaked over 100,000, but mostly it was within 25 to 50,000 a month. Since Biden's been in office, on the low end, it was 160,000 a month, but it's been averaging about 220 to 250,000 illegals every month coming across the border. Now they're estimating that number will increase to about 500,000 coming across the border. And that's conservative estimates from the Border Patrol. You have to understand, and as you all know, that usually when the government gives you a number, it's usually not the exact correct one. A lot of independent studies are believing that it could be even larger than that the number could be 750,000 to 1 million coming across the border.
And those people are being brought here for judgment. Yeah, they are, trying to manipulate this thing here so it can work out for them. But ultimately, the Lord is dragging these people here for the Third World War, for the thermonuclear holocaust that's about to happen here, man. This is Jeremiah 51, verse 3. Because once these people get here, they stuck. They stuck. They're going to have to deal with the confusion that comes with this place. So they stuck here. And they're being brought over here to be torched. This is Jeremiah 51, verse 3. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow. And those silos. Them silos. Those are they're represented as the archers. And the bow is those missiles, man. Them hyper supersonic, those zircons, them Satan 2s, them ICBMs. Those missiles that's going to make their way over here within minutes, 60 minutes, 30 minutes. So it says, against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow. And against him that lifteth himself up in his bridle, and spare ye not her young men. And no one will be spared. And them people are coming over here with kids. Destroy ye utterly all her hosts. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans. And that's another code name for this place, which represents wisdom, right? And they that are thrust through in her streets. And these streets are about to be torched with the besom of destruction. For Israel hath not been forsaken. That's the elect of Israel. Nor Judah of his power. For Yahweh of hosts, which is armies, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. So that's the Lord bringing his mercy for the elect. And number two, showing his wrath and indignation and destruction on the 2/3 of our people, Esau and these other nations, man. So these people are being brought here to be judged.
But let's just stick with those conservative government numbers. Approximately 500,000 coming across a month. That's the state of Wyoming. The state of Wyoming coming across the border every month. In 12 months, that's 6 million people. That's the states of Missouri or Colorado or Minnesota or Maryland coming across the border every month. And even if only 1% of those coming across the border are violent criminals. I mean, they're all criminals because they're entering the country illegally. But let's just say that only 1% are violent criminals. That's still a massive amount of people that are coming here to do violent crimes that are coming across the border. And of course, the numbers show that it's much higher than that, that there's a large growing amount of violent crime that's coming in with a lot of these illegals, which is different than what it was decades ago 10, 20 years ago, it honestly, there was only a smaller percentage of violent crimes. Now we're seeing a lot. There's a lot of cartel activity. And then, of course, we fully don't understand and know how much foreign adversaries are coming across with them from China and Russia and other nations that their possibly military or intelligence elements are coming across the border posed as illegal aliens. This is disastrous. This is an absolute invasion, folks.
So you heard what he said? This is disastrous. This is an absolute invasion. And they're scared. And these preppers are scared. They saying leave the city. No, they're going into their bunkers because they see the fix is in. And their politicians are not standing up for them. They have no representative. Half of them got bad health. They don't have hope. They don't know the new world is at the end. They don't know that. They thinking they're going to live out in these bunkers, until this thing clear up, and then we can come back and, redo the democracy. Nah. That's not how this thing goes down. We at the last leg of the Second Roman Empire, man. The toes of this statue. The bruise of that fourth kingdom had to come back to finish this thing off. And now we at the ending. And what a beautiful ending, man. Jeremiah 51 verse 8. Suddenly, Babylon is suddenly falling. Because people, when it really hit the masses of these idiots, it's going to be like, when this was going on. Because everybody in their old bubble here in America. So it says Babylon is suddenly falling and destroyed. This wasn't talking about ancient Babylon, because ancient Babylon today is Iraq. And that's a petro country, man. Meaning they got oil. There's cities over there. They got Burger King, McDonald's. Iraq is thriving. So this wasn't talking about ancient Babylon. This was a future Babylon. Future. So it says Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain. Balm is a treatment. You get a scrape on your arm. We used to pull out the peroxide, the alcohol oil, whatever you use. Some people use the honey, some lemon, whatever you use for a scrape. And if it was a punctured wound, you would go you get a exclusive wrapping. You do what you got to do to try to manage the bleeding or to heal that wound, whether it's superficial or something really serious. But the thing is to manage the wound, right? But it says here, how for her, meaning this futuristic Babylon, take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed, right? We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. So there's no healing. There's no stitching. There's no surgical, operation you can do to bring this place back. Marching won't do it. More money dumped into the economy won't do it. Cleaning the air, saving the fish, nothing. More schooling, more churches, nothing. Because this is all prophecy. The Lord is done with the wickedness of the people in this world. And Babylon holds this wickedness up, man. Long as America say it's good, it's good. America say do it, do it. So the Lord has got to bring down the mouthpiece of the world, which is this place here. The Lord's about to punch her in her mouth. So it says, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her. Meaning, look, man, this is, you walk upon a dead body, you shake it one time. We got something called triage. When you walk up on somebody, you're in a triage situation. They might be red, yellow, green. Green mean go. Red is serious. Yellow is they're walking. But if they black, you move. Tag them and you move. So it says here, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Meaning, because she's black, she's dead. This place is dead. You heard what he said? This place is dead. Right? It says, forsake her, meaning leave her, and let us go everyone to his own country because the nations are finding out it's too expensive to stay here. You know, they making money here, but they putting their money right back in the system to pay for housing, to pay for cars, to pay for education. Mortgages going up, loans are going up, interest rate, they're not lending anymore. All the underwriters are not underwriting anymore. It's a lot going on. So the nations, they gonna flee. They getting up out of here. They see, they working with a dead body. You don't work with a corpse. Okay? So it says, and let us go everyone into his own country for her judgment. And that's what everybody's saying. Is America being judged? Is she actually being judged? Yes. Yes. This place is being judged from Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah. That's why when you look into the UFO activity around the world, the majority of the UFO activity is on the East Coast and in the West Coast. Why? Because the judgment happens here. So the angels, that's in the UFOs, the angels, those are called chariots or ships. They're watching this place here. Mainly. So it says, let us go everyone to his own country, for her judgment reaches unto heaven. There's no hiding for what you've done. And it's lift up even to the sky, man. So the Lord has been watching this, tallying it up. You've been receiving mercy ultimately, so the story can go on. But the elect has been here for hundreds of years. Time traveling, like the Ox say, Ma'akya, Demyad. We've been time traveling all this time until the end. And we at the last reincarnation process. You know, those that's going to make it, those that get taken away, they at the last, they'll come back with crowns on their head. Esau, get prepared for slavery. There won't be no new world order according to your plans and your device. The new world order is going to be 2 Peter 3, verse 10 on down. Same thing Isaiah saw in Isaiah 65. New heavens and new earth ran by who? Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. 1 Corinthians 15 and 24. The Lord about to lay down all reign, all rule, all authority under him. He going to have the crowns. So that's what we seeing. Look, even the preppers, they know it. Everybody ringing an alarm. Don't be distracted with this whole Donald Trump crap. They got the masses of people talking Trump. No. The elect will not be deceived in this day, giving all the praise and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Dash Shalom.